Hey everybody, it's Mr. Fudge, your balloon man. We are here with Brady DeGroot from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And Brady, is that Balloonertainment? Is that your company?
Yes, balloon entertainment. Yes.
Awesome, fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us here today. We are here to chat about a number of things. Now, I've met you. I've actually roomed together at a convention with you.
Yep.
I think it was a year and a half ago now, right?
Yep. Float 2019.
2019, right? So, Brady, for those guys that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having me. And I started off as a twister and watched a lot of videos on YouTube and learned a lot there. And then I kind of came into the decorating realm. So I consider myself kind of a deco twister. And I've been running my business for a little less than 3 years now. And I'm a one-man show. Got a couple guys that help me out on the side a little bit. And that's about it. So if you have any other questions you'd like to know about me, but that's it. That's who I
no,
am.
that's awesome. So you got started about, you said 3 years ago? Is that about right?
Yeah.
So
So
three,
April, sorry.
no, go ahead. You said April?
Yeah, April 1st would be my 3-year mark of the first gig I did. Yes.
Oh, that's very
So,
cool. Now, how did you get started?
yeah. My primary profession for a long time, I would travel the country and I would work on machinery, and that's a lot of time in hotel rooms, and I'm really involved with. Decided that I was going to buy a bag of balloons and a pump, and use the time that I was sitting in the hotel room. I pulled up some YouTube videos from Michael Floyd, from you, and from some others, and I would just sit in my hotel room at nighttime after I got off work and learn how to twist balloon animals. And then came home, started doing some events there at church, and then just kind of transitioned into a business from there.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, you say that you went from twisting to decor.
Yep.
Was it the float convention that did that?
No, we had some events come up at church, and I don't want to say I got tired of twisting balloons, but you twist dogs and monkeys and swords and flowers and whatever else, and you kind of want to. I don't know. I'm kind of what's the word? I'm curious, so I like to branch out and try new things, and so I made some really terrible looking columns and some other things for a church event, and
Yeah.
kind of was like, oh, I really kind of like this. It looks really cool. So just kind of started doing that. And then, of course, once you do one event, they're like, oh, my gosh, we can have this at our events. And it just went from there. So,
Oh, wow. So it just exploded. So you started out doing
yeah,
mostly stuff for your church, it sounds like, right?
yeah, it's kind of great for me, to have that avenue. Granted, I usually just get paid, at cost or whatever for those kinds of events. But I'm able to branch out. I get creative liberty. I can kind of do what I want. And it helps me also to grow because I'm doing more events than I would normally be doing if I was having to seek paid jobs, if that makes sense, when you're first starting out. So,
Yeah. And churches are, I'm sure that's not the reason you do events at church, but churches are such a great collection of people from diverse backgrounds that can easily get more work and stuff as well, which is really cool to have a community like that to help you.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, when did you decide to go to a convention then? What changed your mind or how'd you do that?
So it was April of 2018, or sorry, not April, August of 2018. My daughter's birthday came around. It was her second birthday, and I wanted to build her like this under the sea wall. I had seen a picture on the internet, and I was looking for another challenge, wanted to learn something new. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try and build this thing, kind of my own style or whatever. And come to find out, we had a Sunday school series coming up, and we always do our events at the church. So we had a Sunday school series coming up that was related to the theme. And so I built this like huge under the sea wall with like a little cave and a mermaid and a bunch of other stuff. And I posted it on Balloon Friends, and I was like, hey, I've never done, something like this, something this scale. Does anybody have any advice or whatever for me? And Tristan Michael Savage went in there, and he was like, you should go to the float convention. And this is like mid-September at this point, and I'm like, I don't even know what the float convention is. So I started asking questions, and then Steve Jones pops in there, and he is like, oh yeah, you should come. And I look at the link, and I'm like, well, this is like an advanced level convention. I'm going to feel totally out of place. And he was like, well, you'll be just fine. So he worked it out. I was able to go, and I made that decision, and then from there, I actually won free registration to Float 2020. So I was able to go back this past year as well. So that was pretty exciting as well. But that's how I went to my first convention.
Now, 2020 float, you didn't just come back, you came back with like a vengeance. So I think I was there, I for sure, and I saw you. Did you compete in every single competition?
I was going to, they had the uh, too many entries, or I don't know what you want to call it, but there was too many competitors that entered. And so they asked each of us to drop one competition. So I competed in everything but entry decor.
Yeah.
But I was totally intending to do that. But yeah, every other one I was in.
Wow. So what was it like, the experience of being in all those competitions?
Um, it was a great experience. It's rigorous because it's 2 straight days nonstop, back to back to back to back, and you finish up one, you clean up, and you move on. And you got just enough time to fix yourself a sandwich and grab a bag of chips or something, and then you're piling together your balloons and your materials for the next one and heading to wherever that one's at. But it was a great experience for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was good friends with Sean Rogers, who was one of the guys running a bunch of those events for you guys. And it was
Right.
so funny because you saw him in the beginning, he was super excited, and then throughout the convention, he was slowly like dying on the inside, just so much work, no little sleep and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. To put it in perspective, so obviously I didn't do the entry decor, which is the very first one, and that happens I think it starts at like 7 in the morning on Saturday, and then I think it goes until like 11, and then the centerpiece competition starts at 2:30. But you finish the entryway at 11, and then you got until 11:30 to be cleaned up, and then you start setting up at 2 for the centerpiece competition. So there's not a lot of time in between, and then you finish centerpiece. You go straight into large sculpture, which is 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., and then you get done at 2 a.m. and you're cleaning up, and, the foil competition starts the next morning at 7. So, it's literally back to back to back, no sleep. And there's a lot of organization that goes with it, because you got to have all your ducks in a row, because, if you get down to the competition and it's only like a 4-hour competition. Like, I think the organic competition is probably the hardest in my opinion, because it's only 4 hours. And if you forgot something, you forgot a color or whatever, you got to run back up to your room or wherever you got your stuff stored, and every minute counts. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was a great experience. And then, all the people that competed, I've seen these names. I've met some of them, but I've seen these names on Facebook and seen their work, and then to actually like see them in person and to be there alongside them, putting myself out there. That is, I don't want to say it's a once in a lifetime experience, because Float 2022 is going to be here and I'm going to be back, but it's definitely one of those very few in a lifetime kind of experiences.
That's phenomenal. I have to say that I haven't done a lot of competitions myself, but these new people that are thinking about going, this was like literally 1 year since your first convention.
Right.
You went full throttle. Like, what would you say to that? Was that a good decision? Was that a bad decision?
I would say it was a game-changing decision. It was. People told me when I went to Float 2019, they said, don't be afraid of the competitions. And the only reason I didn't compete at Float 2019 was I didn't know what a balloon convention was all about.
Yeah.
So I went and I enjoyed the experience, and I saw the level of competition that people were putting out there, and I really was like, you know what? I feel like there's some areas that I could be better than that in, and then there's some areas that I'm not, but I'm going to go challenge myself and, put myself out there, and whatever happens, happens. And so, I came back from Float 2019 and I immediately started planning. I knew that there wasn't specific themes for most of the competitions, and so I just started planning the pieces and the ideas. And then, but I would say if you're new into the industry, don't shy away from competing. You get better. I'll put it like this: my organic sculpture that I did, I was not happy with it. It didn't look anything like what I was intending on it to look like. But the reason for that is we were building the frame, and like literally we're putting the last joint in the frame, and the frame just snapped because I made it out of PVC because I had to put a lot of tension on it, and the frame just snapped in half. And so then we had to, I had brought conduit as a backup, but then we had to, run conduit around it and basically rig it. But we spent 2 of our 4 hours basically just putting the frame together. And so I had to just throw balloons into the frame basically to at least put something out there because I'm a competitor. I'm not a quitter. But I learned so much about perseverance because if you think about it, if you're on a job at a client, and something happens, what are you going to do? You're just going to walk away and offer them a refund and then take that hit to your business and to your brand because that's not going to be a good review. So, I just persevered through it, and it taught me so much about just when things don't go right, how to adapt to those challenges.
That's great. And you know what? You said something that really resonated with me there. Typically, I would say that I don't compete because I don't need the accolades. I don't need the competition. I don't really, I've never had a desire. But when you mentioned the stress and the pressure and stuff going wrong and relating it to clients, that like,
Yeah.
that makes sense because
Right.
I do compete and I love to compete. But that's when I'm doing it. I'm doing it with my clients. I'm making sure that I'm going above and beyond. I'm prepping things. I'm learning things. I'm practicing things at home. Then I go and I just wow them with everything I can. So it's really cool to make that parallel there. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you did all these competitions. Did you win anything?
I did not win in any of the live competitions.
Yeah.
I didn't get the final score. I mean, I got my score sheets. I don't know where I finished. I know it was no higher than 4th place because they award the first 3 places. But I did win a FLOATEE award for a sculpture that I had created back in September for Best Milestone Event Decor. So that was pretty exciting.
So you are an award-winning balloon decorator with 1 year of convention experience. That's a
Yeah.
phenomenal thing to say. And you
Yes.
have competed with some of the top decorators in the world as well on
Yeah,
many different
absolutely.
levels, which is really cool.
Absolutely, yeah, and like I said, that was one of the best experiences. I mean, when you start talking about Crystal and Vicky and Derek Wong and Dennis Scott, I mean, and there's so many more. If I'm missing names, but
Yeah,
there's so many of these decorators out there, these big name people. I mean, Crystal's been featured in all kinds of magazines and everything. Dennis was on the WBC team for Team USA a couple of years ago. And Derek is, I mean, how many awards has he won? Vicky, how many awards has she won? And to be able to compete alongside those people, and honestly, to pick their brain because they were very friendly, and they were would share ideas and thoughts, after the competitions. To be able to have that experience is game changing. Whether I won an award in the competitions or not, I learned so much from them just by watching and observing and talking to them and listening that, in 2022, I mean, I've already got ideas churning in my mind. We're going to wait and see if they put some themes on some stuff, but I'll be back, and, it's going to be a totally different outcome next time, I think.
that's phenomenal. Absolutely love to hear that, and I look forward to seeing some of your stuff for sure. Now, with some of your competition pieces, I know we spoke before we started recording. You said that you actually had sponsorship on some of them, correct?
Yes. So Anagram sponsored my foil competition, which for those of you that were at Float, I made the pyramid of pyramids. I took the diamonds orbs and turned them upside down and made the pyramids. It was like a myriad or whatever. I knew it was simple, but it was clean, so I really liked it. And then Tristan Michael Savage of U.S. Party Company, he had sponsored a few different bags of balloons, different colors of stuff for my organic piece, and then also the rotating globe that I made for my large sculpture. He donated the 6-foot climbing balloon that I used as the base for that.
That's really cool.
So,
Now, how did you go about getting those sponsorships? Were you calling them? Were they calling you?
well, so initially, Steve had posted in the Float group that the manufacturers were looking to offer sponsorship, and I had started seeking sponsorship. Tristan actually reached out to me because I used some of his products,
Hmm.
specifically like U glue, Bobo balloons, things like that. Um, he reached out to me and said he wanted to help with sponsorship, and then Anagram, I reached out to them because they had offered to all the competitors. So That's kind of how that went.
That's awesome. So your business now that you're doing in Tulsa, what is it you're actually focusing on now? I know you started just working with a church. Like, how have you progressed at this point?
So it's funny because, I started as a twister, and that was what I was really good at for a long time. And I did a lot of birthday parties. I got a lot of birthday business at the beginning. But I started to realize that I can make a lot more money, and work a lot less hard by doing like high-end decorations. And so I started trying to transition. So I've been transitioning into corporate events, and then also weddings. I still have my birthday side to my business because I really like twisting. There's something about entertaining that I just really enjoy. But I've been trying to branch off into weddings and corporate events. I actually just in this free time that we've had with what's going on with the event industry, I've been taking some free trainings and stuff like that. And I actually just won a $2,700 scholarship to a marketing academy for the next 6 months. So
Nice.
I'm going to use that to help market to those corporate clients and to those those brides and things like that. So,
That's phenomenal. So if you had to suggest to someone what the best mode of advertising has been for you, what would you say that?
honestly, it's word of mouth. A lot of my business either comes in from people that I've done work for, and they'll be, hey, I got your card from so-and-so. Or, I've got some agreements worked out with some places around town, mom and pop party shops and things like that. And people will call in there, hey, do you guys do balloon arches? And no, but here's our guy's number, and they give me a call. And then, I've got a corporate client that they contact me. They've got 27 different departments in that same building.
Wow,
And so it's word of mouth when I do these events. But the first time I got in there was because of a mom and pop party shop that I've partnered with. So it's just, honestly, it's word of mouth. It takes time. It's a grind, but I mean, that's the way it is, I think, at least for me.
that's awesome. Now with your entertainment, I ask anybody who does twisting, how is it that you end a line?
How is it that I end a line?
Yeah.
Um, it's a little bit different each time, but you can actually. I usually just take like a white 350 and write closed on it, and then I take another color like 260 and then just like go around it, and then I go hand it to somebody like, hey, if you hold that for me, don't let anybody else behind you. I'll make you a special balloon at the end. And so they get to the front of the line. There's nobody else behind them, and then I make them a special balloon. But we all know that closing a line is probably the hardest thing to do because even though you close the line, you're still going to get 5 or 6 kids that come up and ask you. You're still going to get people that try to hop in line. And then, sometimes, you might, I don't know, sometimes I get swarmed at an event, I had one event that I did probably 3 or 4 months ago, and it was a 2-hour event. They shut down the whole event after 45 minutes because nobody was on the bouncy houses. Nobody was doing any of the games. They were all in the balloon line. But by the time they shut down the rest of the event, the balloon line was so long that I ended up having to do an hour for free just to honor the line that was already there.
Wow.
So it just kind of, how that goes sometimes. I'm not going to tell them, no, I'm sorry, my time's over. I didn't have somewhere else I had to be. So I just, I ate it and, but they called me back. I had a gig I was supposed to do for them next week, but that's not happening now. But,
Well,
but
that's okay. We'll be through that soon, so we're not
yeah,
too
yeah,
worried. So,
yeah.
do you have any advice for anybody new to the event industry?
Man, new to the event industry, just I always say be humble because it doesn't matter how good you get, there's always somebody better than you. And it doesn't matter what you know, there's always somebody that knows more. And when you're new to the industry, I see so many people that come in to like the Facebook groups and things like that. And they ask people for advice like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? And then people give them their advice. And then they go off on these people and they're like, I didn't ask your opinion. And it's like, wait a second. Well, yes, you did. And number two, like that's how you get better.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody to tell you that your terrible sculpture or your terrible, balloon design that you designed looks, great. You want them to tell you, hey, you could do this or that, and that would make it better. So be humble. Find out who knows what they're talking about and reach out to those people. Become friends with people. I feel like I got lucky. I had you as a roommate for Float 2019, and you were very willing to help me. And in between classes, we would be up in the room, and you would be showing me different techniques and things. And to me, that knowledge was like liquid gold. I mean, I took that home and started applying those techniques. I mean,
Yeah.
we took that bag. I don't know if you remember. We took that bag of Tough Tex balloons, all those 5-inch rounds that they had, and you taught me how to do a different style of organic. Now it didn't look right because we were using all 5-inch, but I still do my organics that exact same way to this day,
That's awesome.
and
And now I've changed it,
yeah,
so I have to teach you the new one next
and
fall.
now you changed. But that's the point though. Like you find people that know what they're talking about. You ask them their opinion, and you listen to what they have to say. And not everything's going to work for your business. Not everything's going to work for the way that you have to do things. Everybody's situation is a little bit different. But getting that base knowledge, if you're creative enough, or if you learn enough different techniques and you get a good base, then you're able to adapt whatever your environment will throw at you. And so I think, like I said, being humble and just listening to people and doing what they say is the best way to do it, honestly. And that's how I got where I got, so quickly.
That's very true. And I will add in for all those else listening, there are so many people that know way more than me. I always equate it to a doctor. You can go to any doctor and say, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? But if you want to know about ear, nose, and throat, you go to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. You want to know about feet, you go to a foot doctor. You want to know about your hair, you go to a hair doctor. There are
Mm-hmm.
specialists in their fields. The same is true with balloons.
Mm-hmm.
There's decorators, people that specialize in schools. There's people that specialize in fairs and festivals or even free events. There's people that specialize in balloon twisting, magic, juggling, stilt walking, variety performers,
Absolutely.
hats, wearables, dresses. Whatever you want to learn, there's someone out there that's a specialist in it. And if you find people like Brady who's jumped in here and gone headfirst into the deep end and said, I'm going to commit to getting to know the industry and learning as much as I can. You can find someone like him or myself or someone else that goes to these conventions and you can ask them, hey, who's the person I go to for cute dogs that I can do for line work? Who's the person that I go to teach me how to do organic? Who's the person to teach me how to add florals to my balloons or to add uh, garland to something? And they're
Mm-hmm.
able to usually point you in a direction of someone that can help. So that's really cool. Now, Brady, I appreciate you very much for being on the call with us today. Is there anything that
Absolutely.
you would like to share? Anything you want to advertise? Anything you want to mention? I mean, do you want to get up and stand on your desk and do a dance? I mean, you can do whatever you like. Just share with the audience.
No, I'm just thankful. I'm grateful, for the opportunities. I've been very fortunate since I've been in this industry. And I think that, this industry is a great opportunity for anybody that wants to come into an industry where you can work for yourself, you can create a future for yourself, and you don't have to have a lot of revenue, a lot of capital. Capital is the right word. A lot of capital up front. You can start taking orders today. As long as you know how to do the work, you can start taking orders today, and you can use the money from the deposits to start ordering your materials and things like that. So I think this is a great industry for anybody that's trying to get into it, for anybody that wants to create a future for themselves. You don't have to have a lot of capital. Just, like I said, reach out to those people that know what they're talking about, learn from them. Don't do the DIY stuff on YouTube. That is one thing I will say. Like, people want to do the DIY and call it professional balloon decor, and it is not. No, no, sorry. but but use it to get a good base, and then learn from somebody that knows how to teach you how to add on to that base.
Yeah.
And then go from there. But I don't really have anything else to add. I'm thankful that you had me on the call. I told you that I watched a lot of your videos. I still make your princess crown to this day. When people ask me, when young ladies ask me for a crown, I make your princess crown for them, and I probably make a couple of other year ones, but I forget where I learned everything. But
Yeah, I
but
understand.
I was honored that you would have me on the call. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Brady. I appreciate it. And for you guys that are paying attention, I'm gonna harass Brady for his Facebook, his website, and all that jazz. We'll post that in the comments below. If you have any questions for him, go ahead and post them. We'll make sure that we get that over to him so he can answer as well and
Yeah,
listen in and hear what we have for next time. So thank you for joining, guys. Thank you, Brady.
yeah. Thank you.